Just wanted to go over a few things to review what we've talked about and also go over the organelles that we would have in our live meat. So every living thing is divided into one of two groups. It's either a prokaryote or a eukaryote. Remember that pro means before, but what I usually tell my students and how they remember it is pro rhymes with no. And so I purposefully marked them out here so you know that it does not have a nucleus and they do not have little compartments or membrane bound organelles. The U in eukaryotes means true. So these have a true nucleus. Eukaryotic cells have a nucleus and they have little compartments or little membrane bound organelles that each cell will actually do. Each part of the cell has its own function and its own job. Since every living thing is divided into one of these two groups, the 6 kingdoms basically two of them fall under prokaryotes. They do not have a nucleus. The archaea, which means old, and the eubacteria, which are more the bacteria that we normally think of when people get sick or that have symbiotic relationships, either in our intestines or in nature. The kingdoms that are eukaryotic are protists, fungi, plants, and animals. So all of these have organelles and they all have a nucleus. We just talked about how these mean old. Some other things about them, these are what they think were the first cells. They're the oldest cells. They're much smaller. They're simpler. And all prokaryotic cells or organisms are made up of only one cell. So we say that they're unicellular. Eukaryotic cells tend to be relatively a little bit larger. They're a lot more complex because they do have the different compartments or organelles. Some eukaryotes are unicellular. They're just one cell, but most or a lot of them, are multicellular. So they're made up of more than one cell. Some things that both of these have in common. Okay, something that all cells have. All cells have a cell membrane. All cells are made, they have the cytoplasm that actually holds things in place. Even though they don't all have a nucleus, they all have DNA and they all have ribosomes, the little dots that we see that are free floating in the cytoplasm or in eukaryotic cells. They're on the rough ER. They're also found in prokaryotic cells. They're a little bit different. They're still the little dots and they just float around in the cytoplasm. So now we're going to look specifically at the organelles in eukaryotic cells. So I'm going to share this website with you. And when you click on this, each of the different organelles, it actually tells you their name. And if you click on it a little bit, like double click on it, then it actually tells you the function of it. Okay, so we have the nucleus, the darkened portion is the nucleolus. Right around it, you see the little thing with the dots, that's the rough ER. And right near the rough ER, it looks very similar, but it doesn't have dots, that's the smooth ER. We have the centrosomes or the microtubules. We have lysosomes that kind of act like the garbage disposals, mitochondria, vacuoles. We have the Golgi apparatus or the Golgi bodies, and then we have vesicles. This is an animal cell, so we have a cell membrane as well. So like I said, I will be happy to share this link with you. It also has a plant cell, so you can see the different things there. And if that helps you with identifying the parts and turning in, resubmitting your diagrams or your functions, you may do that as well. So I hope that this helps you with understanding the organelles, and I'm also going to share a game with you, hopefully, that will help you with making sure you understand them. So just to go over a couple of things real quickly, there's this interactive cell membrane that's in your notes. This is called the phospholipid bilayer from your game. Hopefully you're learning these are the phosphate heads and the lipid tails. And it lets certain things go through and it doesn't let others. That's why it's called selectively permeable. And we can have carrier proteins or channel proteins to either have active or passive transport. And this actually shows you all the different